Status log, stardate S0906. We've been sent to the Zolder system to negotiate with a hostile civilization that's developed and used a weapon that's been banned by the Federation. The new weapon's a curb missile the Federation finds to be too dangerous.
Approaching Zolder 6, Captain.
All stop.
All stop.
On screen, open a channel.
They're powering up their primary weapons.
Red alert! Red alert! Shields up!
Shields up. They are firing their weapon. Direct hit. Excellent. Shields down to 16%.
Fire all phasers and photon torpedoes, Mr. Worf. Light them up!
Coolant leak. We have a coolant leak in engineering.
Direct hit. Deck 13.
We have a fourth floor breach in progress.
All hands abandon ship! All hands abandon ship! Avoid the curb weapon at all costs!
Welcome back to the beginning of another Sim Racing Alliance season. It's been a long break, and we're back.
But it's been quite a long break, and I think you, me, and everybody involved with tonight's action is super excited to get going.
So they got a straight fight the rest of the night. He's going to have to make a move. That's a Punterino.
Serious pressure from Boostra. Trying to switch on the inside. Swinny goes on the inside for the defense. Oh my goodness, right in between.
He's going to dive to the inside of both of them. They're going to go three wide corner. And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to our Season 9 Division 1 Round 6 at Zolder. Our cars are warming up for qualifying tonight. I'm in the booth, joined by Andrew and Maxie Poe, Andrew Anderson and Maxie Poe. We're excited for a fun night of racing, and as the cars get warmed up here, we're going to get you guys warmed up with all the info you need to enjoy the race. Andrew, what do you got for them tonight?
I got a something boxed and a something boxed and another one until we get through with 10 something box.
Perfect.
If you pronounce them, you're a better man than I am.
Maxie,
I'm
what do you?
definitely not going to be a better man than you tonight, Andrew. I cannot pronounce these, so I'm just going to be sticking to turn 1, 2, 3, and so forth. But the action, I think tonight is going to come at the 2 chicanes that we have here. If you take them a little timid, you're probably going to get overtaken tonight, especially coming out of the fast turn 4, going on down to the first chicane. I think that's where we're going to see some good overtaking tonight.
Nice. Let's take a look at our track map as we discuss these things. As we said, tonight we're at Zolder in Hoesen-Zolder, Belgium. I think I'm saying that right. Hoesen-Zolder, Belgium. It's about 4 kilometers around. That's just about 2.5 miles for us here in the US of A. We have 11 turns crammed in there, and those chicanes that Maxie was just talking about, so there's 2 of them in the second sector. One of them's labeled turn 5, and one's basically labeled turn 7. It's strange how they label the turns here because they don't have one for each of the chicanes. And then also the chicane at turn 10. Those are definitely the opportunities to overtake, but it's also pretty sketchy to go side by side through any of those chicanes. Andrew, where are you looking for the most action tonight?
Well, I think the I hate it boxed is turn 5. Of course, that's the big curb. And that's where everybody's going to find the speed or not find the speed. I think that's the big spot that we have a lot of action. But I think turn 2 and 3 is where people lose speed. There's a way to get around 2 and 3, and there's guys that got it, and there's guys that don't got it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Those long sweepers are a little bit of a departure from the rest of the course. And if some people have the setup for that section, and then it's hard to overtake in the rest of the section. So that's a good point. Great point. With that, let's take a look at our standings. All right. So in our Division 1 standings now, we have Travis Nordstrom out front with a narrow lead of 5 points over Ed Kerstetter after his fantastic performance in the last race, and Ed took the week off. We're looking forward to his return tonight, hopefully. Michael Manning holding hard there in third place with some great results so far this season. Mr. Sir not too far out of the points yet still. He could make a run for it in fourth place. And Jordan Nixon is back behind him in fifth. We got a few other people. What are you guys looking at in the driver's standings? Who's grabbing your attention?
Peter O'Brien, sneaky, and he's driving a Lamborghini along with Travis Robinson, and those cars have been heavily weighted. And Peter hasn't been fighting for wins, but he's been awfully stealthy at the front.
Perfect. I'm going to flip over to our second page here. Take a look at some names that sometimes don't get mentioned too often. If you got your favorite driver in there, that's where they stand. And then we're going to flip over to our team points. And our other team, our team with Ed Kerstetter is still out front there by about 50 points. Jeff Spangler and Ed Kerstetter in the Madhouse Racing This Is Beer team have a 50-point lead out front with their headed Drive Bimmer Room with Jeremy Mercer and Jordan Nixon in second place. And close behind them still is Michael Griffith and Travis Nordstrom in the Sharks Comic Racing team. So that's still anybody's game in the team standings. All it would take would be a bad result from a couple of the drivers further up, and we would have quite the showdown as we head towards the end of the season here. It looks like our qualifying session is warming up, and we are going to get you guys over to the race scene here in just a second as the cars take to the track. There we are. Ooh. We are qualifying early in the morning today. And we are checking out some of the qualifying action as we get warmed up. I believe Andrew has some thoughts for us.
Aha! We always want to make sure and bring the goods. So, tonight, we want to talk to you about the real heroes of sim racing. I know you think about it, but we never talk about it. So, it's not the studios, not the developers, not the guys that make the paid setups that we can't drive, certainly not the drivers that take us out on turn one after we spend countless hours preparing for our race. Real heroes. Yep. That's the SRA WAGs. The wives and girlfriends of SRA are the people that keep this place rolling. Without their support, drivers would give up left and right. Drivers would lose all confidence in themselves and would spend Tuesday evenings sitting watching the Game Show Network on the couch with a gallon of ice cream. Our hero wags listen to us whine and complain all week about mechanical grip and aero balance. They pretend they understand and care. They spend dinner dates listening to how we get wiped out with 5 minutes to go and how we got turned around by the same guy for the third race in a row. They become widows a couple of nights per week during the countless hours we spend practicing. The only thing they get in return is hearing us yell, grunt, and even swear while we look for the last 10th on a lap. Afterwards, they provide comfort by letting us stomp around the house after a race while we cool off. Their ultimate act of heroism is they don't leave us despite our childish behavior. So, to the real heroes of sim racing, we raise our glass of Austrian energy beverage to you. The WAGs of SRA. You drivers should go pick up some SRA hoodies, flags, and coffee mugs from the merch store for your sweetie for being such a trooper, the real heroes of sim racing. There you have it.
Fantastically said, Andrew. They are the real heroes, the wives and girlfriends that suffer so understandably at the mercy of our sim racing addiction oftentimes, right?
Yep.
Maxie, I know
more, y'all.
Maxie, I know you've got a fiance in the works, so how's she take your sim racing addiction?
Just like Andrew was saying, he always pretends she knows exactly what's going on, agrees. Even if I'm in the wrong, I'll show a replay, and she always has my back. It's just, it's absolutely incredible that they still love us after, like Andrew was saying, they become widows a few times a week. So big shout out to Morgan, who, she gives me a lot of support now that I think about it. So,
hey,
fantastic.
There we go. We got hot action on the track that I'm sure a bunch of wags will want to listen to.
Absolutely, they'll be enthralled with this. I'm sure do we have any wags in the chat with us on the stream tonight? We'd love to hear from you. If you're supporting your favorite driver, shout him out as well, because the support is felt and welcomed. All right, so we've got our silver drivers about halfway through their qualifying run now. We're starting to lay down some laps. Fazli Majid has taken out a early lead here, but it looks like he's invalidated on this lap, but he's currently in the provisional pole spot with a 128.5. We're expecting faster laps than that for sure. So yeah, we already got one there. Zeidler has now crossed the line for the second time with a 128.3. From what I saw, we're definitely going to be dipping into the low 27s on looking for pole time tonight. What do you guys think?
I definitely think we'll be in the 27s for sure, just going off of the practice servers, and our silver drivers are already nudging that 27 mark. We have Zeidler up here 4/10 off, and we have Stefiak, I think, he just dropped off my map. Actually, he was up almost 6/10. So I think these silver drivers are going to be in the 27s, and the gold drivers are going to take it a step further, I would assume.
No doubt, no doubt. Zeidler looks like he's gone off the track and returned to the pit there. And so he must have botched that lap a little bit. Easy to do here in these dark, cold conditions. So qualifying began here at about 5 a.m. And the track temp is all the way down at a very frigid 7 degrees Celsius. And it's only fast track conditions. It's funny with the track, with the temperature being this cold, the track doesn't go to optimum condition very quickly at all. So we may not even see an optimum track condition by the time qualifying completes for the gold drivers tonight, or this morning, I guess we should say. But we will see how these guys fare. I know the first time I jumped in the qualifying server, this track is a little bit disorienting with the track lighting actually interfering with the normal view you'd get with your headlights. So like right here on the front straight, you can see as our camera goes by, there's a light on this corner, and it just throws your perception off as you're going to that first corner where you really need to be able to see where your points are and how deep you're going. Did anybody else struggle with this?
No comment.
Yeah, exactly, right? I could not lay down a qualifying lap to save my life.
Well, I want to bring the attention to how you began this, is that the track is so cold. I'm not sure we will see optimum tire condition or optimum track conditions for the tires at any point, even going into the race, maybe towards the end of the race if the track does heat up. But, you know, for I think the first time this season, the golds and the silvers will be qualifying on the same dry track.
Yep. You know, it's just something I'm thinking about is, you know, usually you get a track that's got big fat curves like this one, and you know, toward the end of the race you start getting a little tire pressure loss. Well, heck, it's already so cold that you don't have a lot of pressure in it to begin with, and I don't think the race is going to be a whole lot different than this. I'm curious to find out where people are putting their tire pressures to see when and if, more like when, they're going to start losing tire pressure. What's everybody going to end up with toward the end of this thing?
No doubt, no doubt. I know there is tire pressure loss I had in the practice race was on the right front, which the curbs that you grab here, I think that curb is that one right there that we just watched Zeidler jump over. As you enter the second chicane, you have to cut that pretty heavily to get a good run through that corner. And that right front takes the abuse from it. But the tire pressures are an interesting thing here because you pretty much have to run them very, very high. You actually lose tire pressure once you get on track after they come out of the tire blanket. So you're running actually a higher pressure than you actually end up driving on, which is the opposite of what we are usually looking for in our setups. And we are going to see how these drivers are going to handle this throughout qualifying and eventually throughout the race. Let's get back to looking at our times here. So Escorcia has decided he's done the best he's going to do. He's put it back in the pit lane. Oh, he might be coming back out now, but he has already done a 128.05. Zeidler just set another faster lap at a 128.1, so close behind him, and he is giving it another shot.
Check out Durant's real quick.
Oh yeah, Durant's now about 0.3 up on his previous best at a 128.29. So he could, if he keeps this up, he's losing quite a bit of time now. Oh, he's gaining it back, though. Here we go. He could be looking for a pole position right here as we watch him come to the final corners of the lap here. Let's see what we can
You got him, Danny. You got him, baby.
Yeah, that Audi, he is throwing that thing around. What a lap. He's getting tons of time out of the final chicane, and he'll be about 4/10 up as he crosses the line and takes the provisional pole at a 127.9.
Sweet.
Fantastic lap. First driver into the 127s. Let's see. Further back, we've got Mr. Good here. He is about 3.5 tenths up on his lap. Now 4.5 tenths. Wow, gained a ton of time right there as he enters this corner. Lost a little bit coming out of it, but he's currently sitting at a 128.5. And he will improve quite a bit. Jumps up to 4th place with a 128.18. Who else is making inroads? We got Mr. Walker further back here on a good lap right now in his BMW. He's up almost half a second coming through this chicane now. He's currently at a 128.76. If he could bring that down by about 0.75, he would be fighting for the lead. But right now he's down, gaining about 0.4, which would put him around 5th or 6th place, it looks like. See if he can hold on to it.
Yep.
Take a ride on board as he finishes his lap here. Coming down into the final chicane this is. There's a short little straight here which could be a passing opportunity, especially braking hard into this left-hand turn into the chicane. Got to cut hard on both of those curbs, get the exit just right, and push hard down the front short and straight into T1. He does improve his position just slightly, but not a ton. He gets up to 8th place and decides that's the best he's going to have tonight. As our gold drivers begin to take the track, Danny Durant's then on provisional pole for the silver drivers. We have a couple out there finishing their laps, but it doesn't look like anybody. Oh, yeah. Diaz down here just set a faster time, finished his lap, and jumped up to 12th place. All right, with that, let's take a look. Mr. Manning over here.
Release the hounds.
Indeed, here they come. They are already on their hot laps as Manning is taken to the track, and they should have gotten their tires as warm as they're going to be in these frigid temperatures. And we will see what they can do as the track conditions are still holding it fast. As I said, it takes a lot more time for the track condition to go from fast to optimum with the temperatures being this cold.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
Yeah, and even right now our wind speed's at 1 kilometer an hour, so it looks like it's going to stay this way for us. I don't see it warming up too much.
Now the race does start a little bit later. It's going to start at an hour later at 6 a.m. So, and that basically starts at dawn. And the track definitely warms up as soon as the sun comes up. So we will see faster track conditions during the race than we do right now.
Yeah, it's still going to be tough. It's tough sledding this week. I think 7 degrees Celsius is about the average temperature for December in at our lovely village of Zolder.
The corner Spangler just came through here. I was watching them on the Helicam a little bit earlier, and the sparks that are flying off of these cars. No wonder they can still maintain grip when they're bottoming out that hard.
Yeah, they're just riding on the bottom pan, right? It's just grind to the track. Maybe that'll warm the track up.
Right.
I always have a lot of questions, never have a lot of answers. So I played a little bit this week with adding a little more rake to get a little more front end grip on the car. I liked it. The question is, how low can you go before you start losing time on the big curb? I think that's a good question, but you got to get as low as you can go. And I saw some setups for the various cars that didn't have a lot of rake. And I found some that had where people were looking at a lot more rake. I had even more than that, and I kind of liked it. So very curious to find out what these guys are doing as far as how low they're willing to scrape that big fat curb.
No doubt.
It definitely comes down to the spring rate that you're going to run and the damper settings. And Dudley already mentioned the higher tire pressure. So
look right there.
A multitude of factors here. One of the great things about sim racing, you can change a multitude of variables and find a different way to make the lap time.
You don't even have to ask a guy to climb under the car or anything. You just click a couple buttons and it's done.
Don't have to get your nails dirty.
Exactly.
We just looked at. We just watched. Was it that Griffith at in the Porsche? You know, he just kind of slid right by the big left curb, and then went right over the middle of the sausage curves on the right. That's perfect. You never really have to slow down for it. It's just just technically perfect. The question is, are some guys going to try to take more of that and bounce over it because you can't take a straighter line? But what's that going to do to your suspension? Are you gonna bounce down when you come down off of it? Who's going to set that car up to where it doesn't bounce and lose time? Thank goodness for ACC physics, because they're so awesome that everybody can choose something different and everybody get to the same place.
Absolutely. Now, as we were talking about setups here, Travis Nordstrom puts his setup out front with a 127.5, about a half second quicker than our previous pole sitter. And Gomer Wilson also puts in a heck of a lap, about a 10th off of him to get into second place. As we watch Gomer Wilson here on the screen, throwing the Audi around the track, he put in a great lap, and he's trying again. He's already green on his Delta by about a 10th, just starting his lap. We got plenty of people down the list that still have to put in their best laps. I know I was watching the hot lap standings. Griffith was on the top of that leaderboard with a fantastic lap at almost a 127 flat, I believe. That was one of the fastest time for SRA posted on the track this week. So I'm expecting him to move up the leaderboard for sure. Maxie, who are you looking at to move up?
Let's see here. Manning's never a bad bet. I'm anxious to see what Ed Kerstetter can do for us this week. I'm currently sitting down in 28th. I'm not sure if he's had a couple bad laps here or not, but I think the true battle this week is going to be between Nordstrom and Wilson, because looking at the timetables right now, they have a good 2/10, 3/10 actually, over the chasing field. And
check out the BMWs again. Those BMWs are always toward the front. Listen, there's Mercer. Where's Nixon? He'll be there in a minute.
Yeah, there's yet to set a good lap, that's for sure. We're still at fast track conditions, so in this last few minutes here, we could possibly see optimum track conditions. Kerstetter way up on his lap currently here. Lost a little bit of time in entering this chicane, but it looks like he's going to gain it back on the exit.
Take pole here.
Yep. Kerstetter is going plus 0.7, so he's going to move up quite a bit. He jumps to 14th. Kerstetter, and then Spangler is up 0.4 on his lap. That's Kerstetter's teammate, so don't get confused here. We did switch drivers. We are now watching Spangler as he is finishing out the second part of his lap. He's 0.4 up. Yeah, let's see. Manning is a half second up as well. Oh, and he loses it just as we flip to him. See, look what you did.
Spangler invalidated out of the final corner as well. He was up a half a second.
Yeah, it looks like he lost quite a bit as well. Oh, and it definitely invalidated. And Koladroma also invalidated his lap just now. Very easy to invalidate your lap here when you're going for the fastest speed.
It seems better when we come to Matt.
Yeah. Now Nordstrom out front, still currently going a little bit faster than his already provisional pulse lap. And again, we're stuck with those fast track conditions. I really don't think we're going to get optimum track conditions by the end of this. And it seems like maybe Kerstetter has finally found a track that he can't set the fastest lap at this week. I know he took last week off, and I didn't see him do a ton of laps this week, so he may be just a little bit knocking the rust off here in the qualifying session, especially this start qualifying session. Super hard to jump into and be fast, so if he hasn't put a ton of laps in it, it's going to be tough for him. Manning is up on this lap again, though. He's going to give it another try after the commentator cursed got him.
Got one chicane to go.
He's up enough to get on pole by a lot.
Oh no, he threw it all away.
Sure did.
Boy, that was a bold entry on that chicane there. That he was taking an awful lot of curb. Wow. And I believe, yep, he just invalidated at that point, didn't he? Or no, he's just negative on his Delta.
No, he invalidated. He's No, you're right. He did not. He's just down. He's so far down.
Yeah, it's pretty much not going to recover from that one. It looks like Robinson here is putting together a decent lap, or at least he was. Yeah, sure enough, he finished the lap and jumps to third place. And that's good with a 127.7. We may be finishing here, folks, with a 127.5 on the top, which still is almost a second faster than I've ever gone around this track. So that's looking pretty good.
It doesn't look like there's too much improvement out there. I'm wondering if they, due to these fast track conditions, they've already taken the life out of those tires in the first 2 to 3 laps, and
could be
no more grip to be had.
Absolutely.
You may be on it.
They definitely, the tires do have to take a lot more of a beating with the non-optimum track conditions, a lot more sliding around. Now, Gomer Wilson is going to make one more challenge for the pole position here, as he is up a little bit as he comes to the second half of his lap. Let's ride on board with him as he comes into probably the most challenging chicane on the circuit. Getting your braking point right there is just so important. He dives it through there very nice and smooth this time and gains time there as well. He's up 0.2 right now. If he can hold this, he will take over the pole from Nordstrom.
Oh, go, baby. He's up by a tenth on pole right now. 2 tenths.
Yeah, quite a bit. He's losing time coming out of the hairpin there. But
he's got him.
If he doesn't screw up the final chicane here, he will be your new pole sitter as he brakes hard into the left, cuts the curb, cuts the second curb, on the loud pedal, down the front straight, as he loses a little bit of time, but he will just squeak into pole if he crosses the line with that, and he does with a 127.48.
Mercer's the 3 tenths right now. He might have an outside shot here.
Yeah, Mercer as well, finishing his lap, and he jumps all the way to 4th place with a great lap. Yeah, guys, some of the guys that I was expecting to do really well definitely struggled as we look at our finishing standings there. There is your top 23 that we look at in the qualifying final results. I don't think we have anybody else on track that's going to change anything. Kerstetter was out there, but he is not completing the lap. And there are your results, folks, as we get ready.
Variety of cars.
No doubt. We have a wonderful variety of top 5 cars, not a single one the same. And that's what we like to see. That's the BOP hard at work, folks. As we get ready for our grid walk, let's flip over to our current leader and see if we can't hop out of the car here and go for a walk. There's the beautiful Audi Interstate Batteries sponsored car on pole of Gomer Wilson. Great lap out of him. Maxie, take it away.
All right. Starting off in pole position, we have Gomer Wilson. Moving down to the first Porsche of the night, we have Nordstrom and a Lamborghini. Qualifying in the top 3 tonight, we have Robinson, who is flanked by the BMW of Mercer, followed by our previous winner of Manning in his Honda. Dromo in P6, Spangler P7 in a McLaren, Griffith in P8 in his Porsche. Durant, we have his Audi in P9. Adding out the top 10 is O'Brien in his Lamborghini. Flemanger in his McLaren, flanked by another McLaren of Escortia. Zeidler in his Porsche, flanked by Rust in P14 in his Mercedes. We have Micah in his McLaren. In P16, we have Good in his BMW, followed by Stir in his Aston Martin, Cran in his Audi tonight. Then we have Ed Kerstetter and Crown in their McLarens in 19th and 20th. And 21st, we have a BMW of Nixon. 22nd, the Porsche of Simmons. 23rd, Walker in his BMW. 24th, Carpenter in his McLaren. 25th, we have Majid in his Aston Martin. Moving to 26, we have Schwartz in his Lamborghini. Specht is in P27 in the Mercedes. Diaz in his Lamborghini is in P28 tonight. Salazar in his McLaren, followed by Velez in his McLaren, followed by yet another McLaren in 29th, 30th, and 31st. Quigg in his Mercedes, and Stefiak in his Lamborghini will round out the field for tonight.
It looks like one of our cars may have not gridded here at the end. I don't know if we may be dealing with a penalty. that he would have to start from pit. That is one of the penalties that SRA can impose after the race. If there was something that the stewards didn't like that they saw in the last race, sometimes we will see guys penalized with a pit start, and that may be the case there, but I'm not sure. Definitely the McLaren is struggling at this track. I don't know, what input do you have on that, Maxie?
I can't really say. Because obviously we drive the McLarens as well, and it feels a lot more hooked up than it did last week at Brands. So I'm not too sure where these guys are losing the time, but the big surprise for me was those Audis. Another mid-engine car, along with the Lamborghinis here we see in the top 10. So I'm not sure where this McLaren is losing the speed around here. And I don't want to say it's because of the BOP, but I would think that little additional weight is really throwing off the balance of this car.
Does seem to be struggling. We, as you noted there, doing the grid walk, we had a lot of the McLarens at the very back of the field. And if you haven't gotten a lot of practice time in this week, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to throw that thing around the track with the extra weight. And the McLaren, I just find it's hard to get it settled down when it's bouncing off those curbs. It can't lay down the power out of the corner, and it already struggles with the exits. It doesn't have a ton of exit speed. Once we get up to the higher speeds, the McLaren has what it takes, but there's not a lot of higher speed sections on this course.
Right, and under braking too, I feel like the McLaren just isn't what it used to be. Because before the additional weight, it wasn't the best on the brakes, but it would be able to hold its own. And with this additional weight, the car just doesn't want to slow down. You're almost having to wait to turn in. And with these tight chicanes here, that's not really a luxury you have.
No doubt. All right, as we watch them get ready to grid up here, Nordstrom seems to be making a little bit of a statement to Wilson, being right all over his bumper and sometimes even pulling up in front of him as they do the pace lap, the formation lap here. I think Nordstrom is going to try to take first place from him. What do you guys think?
I think Travis thinks he's got to get out front. He probably thinks he has a race pace, and he's going to do everything he can do to make sure and get out front. And we're back to a regular long pit window. So somebody, maybe somebody, if whoever doesn't get out front here about to start, might take the massive undercut.
For sure. It is going to be a battle. It is tough to overtake out there as we get ready to go underway with round 6 here at Zolder in Season 9, Division 1 SRA. They're coming down the front straight now, lined up 2 by 2, and they are ready to go racing. Week 6 underway for SRA. Here we go into corner 1. Both cars on the front row get an even start. They are side by side into turn 1 as Nordstrom tries to go around the outside. They come so close to touch and still side by side as they head towards corner 2. The battle is intense, folks, and Nordstrom finally does have to back out, but it looks like Gomer's gonna lose time on the exit, and he's gonna come back in through turn 3 as he does finally complete the overtake into turn 4. Travis Nordstrom is your new leader of the race right off the start. I didn't see if there was any action further back because I was totally engrossed with this, but it looks like all our cars are on track as we get a view down the field, down the short straight coming into the first chicane.
A lot of passing, but no yellows. Everybody got through cleanly.
Excellent. We had quite a shuffle.
Oh, now there comes the yellows.
All right. Now we're getting some yellow flags, but let's see. Crown looks like he might have mixed up the entrance to the chicane there, and Diaz as well, as they both do not have the best first trip through the chicane. We're also having some yellow flags up here that are moving so fast I can't even click on them. It looks like Flamger has had some trouble, as well as Zeidler as well, and we are getting quick views of those guys, but we have some close battles here. Not seeing where. Oh wow, some guys trying to decide to dive to the pit immediately to get out of traffic, I guess.
There it is. It's a short little track, and if you can get out of the traffic, then these guys at the front might find it to be very advantageous.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on them, and we'll see how they fare if they get open track when they come out.
Then here into the second, well, the fifth corner, the first chicane.
All right. If you want
see
to
here.
get us a nice replay of that, then I'll let you take that away, Maxie. I did not see the yellow flags pop up as I was watching these guys enter the pit lane.
All the heavy hitters are in except for the leader, Travis Nordstrom. All the heavy point leaders are all in the pits.
Maxie's showing us a replay of the accident here.
See here. Might have selected the wrong car here, but they were all piling up as we turned into it. So let me come back to this gentleman and I'll have the correct replay pulled up here.
All right, we will get back to that one for you, folks. Let's see what else we have here. Dan Cran is close behind, and a little gaggle we got here through 11 through 15 as these guys fight for position on this very challenging track. We have already reached optimum track condition. The temperature is up at 10 degrees Celsius, just balmy compared to qualifying, as the tires will enjoy that quite a bit more than the dark, cold qualifying session we were just in.
10 guys pitted. 11 guys pitted. Third of the field came in on the first lap.
All right. We do have 32 cars total in the field. I believe that's everybody we started with. We haven't lost anybody.
Lost one.
Okay, we did lose one then. Sorry about that. And, oh, wow, it's so close there. He kind of taps him on the exit of the corner as Dan Cran is just trying to find a way around good here. The BMW and the Audis, you're seeing slightly different approaches to the corner out of these three different makes of cars here, as the McLaren chases the Audi, chases the BMW, and they're shortly behind the Mercedes of Rust up ahead.
More pitters. Simon Salazar.
Interesting strategy to pit early in this race. So, you guys think the clean air is worth it? Do you think it's worth the not having to follow somebody around through this course?
It's hard to pass here, and if you're stuck behind somebody, and I think even with guys at this talent level, lap to lap, we've seen a lot of tracks, these guys can run within about 0.2, 0.3 a lap of all their laps. Here, there are big swings for individual drivers because you got the curbs and people are they're all over the place, even guys like this. And so if you get behind somebody, you got a mess. You got to find clear air because it's a lapsed time race, I believe.
Yep. If you can run clean laps and keep them stacked up, you're going to do well. As we see Cran trying to find a space around good here into T1. He does tuck the nose in. Wow, they get so close. He tapped him coming out of this corner last time. This time he's alongside of him as they go down towards T2. He's going to try around the outside. He's going to do the switch over, and he does seem like he's going to get a run into turn 3. And being on the outside of turn 3, you got to slow up a little bit to not get on that grass. Otherwise, you are going to get slowed down quite a bit. Gosh, they are so close together coming out of turn 4 as they head down towards the chicane, still side by side. If they try to hold this into that, oh, they do. He finally tucks in behind, and probably a wise choice. Trying to go 2x2 into the entry of that chicane is a deadly maneuver, but he does get a better run out of it, and they're side by side again as they head towards the next chicane around the left-hand bend. He is going to be inside of him here, so close together as they enter the chicane, and he does finally make the overtake stick. It has slowed both of them down significantly during this lap, but Dan Cran, glad to finally be past Mr. Good.
Stuck your gut in, bud. I mean, it's like the girls in bikinis walking by at the pool. You got to suck your gut in. Or
just behind them, we're having another overtake situation as we look further back at Walker trying to get around as well as he just passed Majid. I believe we just had the let me see if I can grab a quick replay of what just happened right there, because they get stacked up here, and sure enough, he's able to just tuck it inside of him, and I thought he made it stick, but
no, he pitted. He did all of that just to pit.
Okay, so he just slowed him down a little bit, and then he decided to head into the pit. But
don't pit now. Now you've passed him.
Yeah. It was quite the entertaining thing for us, though. Let's see. Robinson here now riding in 4th place. Gomer Wilson did have the fastest lap for a little while in 2nd. But now Nordstrom has taken that back over with just about a 128 flat. That is extremely fast for early race pace. Let's see if he can maintain that. Maxie, what are you seeing out there?
Let's see here. Our battle from 7th back to 10th. They're covered by about a second. And it is nice and tight. Starting with Durant. And then he has a nice train forming up behind him.
Of course, Ed Kerstetter looking to make an overtake. He is phenomenal at his racecraft and very good at making a clean and efficient pass. So let's see as we watch on, see if he can find a way around Danny Durant's here in the Audi. More pitter.
Yay.
Another pit guy in the pit ducked off there. I believe that's Rust.
Yep. Rust is in.
Kerstetter looking to the inside, going to T1. He just wanted to make him think about it. Just want him to know he's there, dance around in the mirror a little bit. As he does seem to have more pace, he does get it inside in turn 2 because Durant's looks like he missed his entry a little bit there and went a little bit wide. And we may even have Escorcia jumping on that position as well. If he can get it together, he goes a little wide, coming out of corner 2, sorry.
I think he's going to have a better exit here.
He is. He's going to get a run on him down the straight into the chicane. This is such a dangerous place to overtake. You have to. Oh, and Durant just thinks better of it. He says, you know what? You can go ahead and have that position. I will fight with you another day.
Danny got back it.
I think
he
Durant's
did.
dude realized he was on the marbles and probably was not going to be able to outbrake that McLaren.
No doubt. Even though the McLaren can't brake very well at all, he knew that Audi had no chance on the inside on the marbles there. Kerstetter has walked away from him now while they battled like that. Durant slides back a couple of positions.
Just pulling up in the pit down here, our battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here. They're all close to each other, and we have a car that is already pitted here in the mix with them.
So half the field is pitted.
All right, so the early pit seems to be favored by many of the guys that aren't out front, which is typically kind of what we see. The guys that are out front that have some clean air, have a little bit of space, they'll stay out. And they'll.
Well, you can't come in now. I mean, now it's too late now. You've either done it or you hadn't done it. It's like being pregnant. You can't you can't little bit undercut at this point because everybody else has already undercut you. Therefore, your undercut it just ain't good enough anymore. So now you got to ride it out.
Oh my goodness! It's like being pregnant. What an analogy!
There you go. You can't sort it on a track this small where half the field's done the undercut. You can't sort of undercut because you're going to come out right in a bigger mess than you were to begin with, and you're not going to gain any time at all because you're going to come right out in the traffic now. So you've made your bed. Now you gotta deal with it now.
No doubt. On screen now we got Nate Specht as he guides his Mercedes around behind Fazli Majid's Aston Martin. And he gets a little wide as we flip onto him here and then jumps back over the curb and loses control and is tucked in on the inside. That's unfortunate. He's going to lose quite a bit of time as he tries to probably get the car restarted. I don't know if he's stalled there. He is losing a ton of time. It looks like, unfortunately, I think he might have just decided that was the end of his race this evening.
All hands abandon ship. All hands abandon ship.
Hope everything's well. I know sometimes I think, oh, geez, if that guy had to, these races are pretty important to these drivers. If they had to drop out like that, sometimes I think, geez, did something catch on fire at home? Is the wife yelling? Did she get her hand caught in something? Like, what, did you suddenly have to leave?
Oh, no, I know what it is. The driver starts yelling, then the wife starts yelling, and then you say, okay, I'm done.
I'm done for the night, honey. You're right. I'm getting too upset. What happened at the second chicken? Yeah, I think you mean chicane. Yeah. Okay. We got somebody in the chat asking what happened at the second chicken.
Gotta love autocorrect sometimes.
We might have missed that one.
I didn't see that. Maybe Maxie could scan through our replay and see if we can find something there. There was some contact. We will see if we can root it out for you guys.
We love Nate Specht, so we were having too much fun at his expense to check the other. We love you, Nate.
No doubt. I'm sorry if something is happening at home. I hope it gets resolved and you can get back.
Yeah.
to race in next time. We got a couple close battles on the course. We got Coadromo trying to find a way around Pat O'Brien. We got another battle further back where Nixon is close behind Salazar, the BMW and Nixon on the McLaren, and here we have the Audi on the Lamborghini. As we see the different makes of cars really coming to the front. This BOP seems to be really mixing it up, which is what we were hoping, to have happen with this, is that we would see a lot of action, a lot more action with different makes of cars, whereas before everybody would pretty much grab the meta car and it would be the same cars always at the front.
Thank God for Norway, because in Norwegian they give us the Norwegian word for speed bump or like curb, which is fartsdumper. And so these guys are all getting hit by the fartsdumper, and we're gonna burn that word up all night long.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
The gaps all across the field. All of a sudden, we have mostly a second gap everywhere. This is one of the better battles going on in the field right now.
Unfortunately, it looks like we might be having a technical issue with our replay function right now, so we aren't able to look back at the incident we were promising you folks. Sorry about that, but we will try to keep our eyes peeled for yellow flags on the live action and see if we can see it. And we got action here right now. We will check back and see how this developed. It looked like Stefiak either lost it or got into one of the other drivers. I'm going to jump back here about 20 seconds and see if we can see what happened. It looks like he's got a heck of a run coming to the chicane here, and he just sticks his nose inside, but then can't hold the inside and does make contact with the BMW of, I believe that's Carpenter.
No. Yep. Oh, one fart stumper, two fart stumper.
Indeed.
And he got fart stumped.
And he did just decide to sit there and take his punishment and lost quite a few positions after that incident. I still think the stewards may have something to say about that, so look for that next race that Stefiak may have a penalty of some sort to sort out, but that's not for us to decide. Nixon is now still chasing Salazar here. BMW on McLaren action. And up front, Robinson and Mercer are fairly close together as well, and hopefully we can keep an eye on both those battles for you. The top five have spread out quite a bit, though, and Nordstrom has definitely asserted his dominance in the lead right now, putting in the fastest lap, and he's about 3 seconds over second place Gomer Wilson.
Oh, yeah. He's gone.
That's almost a whole lap 15 minutes into the race.
Wow, look going side by side of the chicane once again here as Nixon and Carpenter battle for this position. Nixon just trying to find a way around that McLaren, and Carpenter just doesn't want to give him the position. Imagine that.
You can't do that.
And he does get it done through the hairpin. He finally just bullies his way through there, as that McLaren, as we've talked about, it just seems to really kind of suffer on this track. It doesn't have the higher speed and mid-speed corners. The majority of them are either heavy braking, low speed, or it's just not a very long straight, so you can't really get the turbos wound up, and you take advantage of the McLaren's high top end speed.
Yeah, there's two McLarens right now in the top 10. That's just not typical of what we've come to expect.
Yeah, even the great Ed Kerstetter struggling down in 7th place right now, not setting any fantastic laps. He's got a 1:28.35, which again, that's fantastic for me, but for Ed, that's we would expect him to be a little bit quicker and a little bit higher up. He is not even on the back of the Audi of Coadromo there. Not that Koa's any shab of a driver himself, but definitely a struggle with the McLaren on this track.
Yeah, Ed's only 14 seconds back, and he probably started 10 seconds back, or at least that. So he hasn't really lost any time. I think he's racing better than he qualified. Let's see what happens. He's got 5 seconds clear up to Koa. And so let's see if he starts closing in and gets that 14 seconds. Let's see what happens to it.
No doubt. He does have some great skill. We know that. And it's perhaps, like I said, he did take last week off, and maybe his week off also meant that he didn't immediately jump into practicing for this race. So he might be knocking the rust off a bit there. As it looked like was that a lapped car you pulled up in the pit there, Maxie, that was just slowing down to let other cars by?
So I was in the middle of switching over here to be on the back of Wilson. Mercer had closed up to the back of it. Just gonna see if we get a rear wing angle.
Yeah, Robinson is right there on Mercer, and Mercer is closing the gap to Wilson in front of him as well. So they're both lapping very well right now. Wilson just crosses the line again with a 128.3, Mercer with a 128.2, and Robinson with a 128.39, so 128.4 just about. So they're all right there within a tenth of each other, and we will see how this battle ebbs and flows. But there is not too many close battles out there, except here I find one. We got Michi on Rust, as he tries to get his McLaren past a Mercedes. Now, I would think the Mercedes would have really great pace on this track with its ability to just devour curbing. I haven't even talked to any Mercedes drivers. Does it just mow through that chicane, or do they still have to watch out?
Now, I drove it some this week, so I'll kind of get a little preview of our drivers. Yeah, it goes over that chicane pretty nice.
All right. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I would think it would gain quite a bit of time through the chicanes where there's a lot of curb cutting.
He doesn't even know there's a fart thumper there.
It's a fart stump reader.
Yeah, it's like if you hit me and I found out about it, I get really mad. It's kind of like that. If I find that as a curb there, I'll get really mad about it.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
One thing we should keep an eye on real quick, though, is Manning here in P17 currently. 47 seconds off the lead. The pit stops were in the low 40s.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the book says 38 seconds, so let's call it 40. So, but yeah, you're probably by the time you get done with it, low 40s. So he's really only about 6 seconds off the lead.
Yeah. So our total time lost in the pit, according to our telemetry here, for the fastest ones we see is 39 seconds. We see some at 40 and some at 42, even a 43 in there. But if you execute well on your pit stop, you're going to lose 39 to 40 seconds. And right now, Manning is closing in on being only that far back from our current leader, which is Travis Nordstrom.
Kerstetter has lost almost a second since we last checked in to the leader. So he is not outrunning Travis Nordstrom right now. He's not getting killed, but he's not outrunning him.
He's barely outrunning the silver driver, Escorcia, behind him, which he's also in a McLaren. So we have one of our front runners struggling a little bit, and it makes me feel better, honestly. If we got Ed Kerstetter struggling around the McLaren on this track, then I don't feel bad as doing as bad as I did in the practice race yesterday.
You're down here in the pit, guys. For 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we have probably the closest battle on track right now.
Yep.
Yeah, not a ton of close racing this evening. We're going to take a look towards the front runners here. We still have this battle with Mercer and Robinson.
You see, everybody got smart. You know, half the field pitted, and the other half didn't. So everybody chose their poison and stuck with it. And the result is everybody was smart. Everybody went to go found a happy place to go get the lowest amount of elapsed time possible.
Yeah, so we're going to have a hot lap battle tonight, folks. Not a ton of side-by-side action, although we have gotten some already. It looks more like we're going to have a chess game, hot lap battle type of situation this evening.
Oh, you know what happens when you pull a rubber band out real tight. It snaps back real fast. And the further you stretch it out, the harder it's going to snap. So we're a third way in. See me in half an hour.
No doubt. About 8 minutes left. We'll expect that rubber band to be very ready to snap.
Here it comes.
Mercer is keeping that gap to Gomer Wilson now, as he challenges for second place. See if that Audi can maintain. And as they just leave, Travis Nordstrom leaves them further and further behind out front. He's not even in sight of our camera as we sweep around this corner. And he's got just over a 5-second gap now. Looking pretty healthy in first place, setting very fast lap still in the low 128s.
They're flying. They're just absolutely flying. They probably have about 75 liters of gas in the tank right now, and are absolutely blowing it out. That's crazy.
Dan Cran looks like he hit the pit lane. And
I
comes
was
in
anxious
for
to
his
see
stop.
if he would come out behind or in front of Manning, and it looks like he's going to come out well behind him.
Indeed, it looks like Manning, being one of our early pitters, I believe he was one of the guys that pit first lap. Is that right?
He sure did. We had 10 guys, for those who just showed up in the chat as viewers. So we had 10 or 11 to pit first lap. For those of you who are watching, who are racing tomorrow night.
Yeah, we might
Somebody
take note of that.
yeah.
Looks like we had an overtake happen here. Let's see what we can catch right here. As I believe Walker has overtaken Flamger for 24th place. And that's about the cleanest overtake we've seen yet this evening, as far as they didn't even get that close together. He just kind of drove around him on the outside.
His teammate flipped it around.
Yeah, Good lost it in the final corner.
Oh, no.
In the final box.
For some reason, I can't find him right now, but let's see if we can see what happened here. Yeah, he was parked trackside there. Must have gotten a little too much curb on exit. It looks like he looped it all the way around and had to park there for a minute to recover. He has recovered to 12th place. I believe he was in... He didn't lose that many positions because he wasn't that much farther ahead. Was he 9th place?
Yeah. if the big chicken doesn't get you, the big will get you.
The chicken.
Sorry. Yep.
The second chicken.
Yep.
And Ryder is also headed into the pit, as we still have, this is one of our closest battles with Misi on Rust. Again, he seems to be the only McLaren able to challenge anybody from behind, way back there in 21st place.
He started shotgun.
Who did?
If we recall. Yeah, Brian Ryder, he started the pits. He was just a little shotgun. He was big shotgun on the field.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, so Ryder did start from the pit, but still, I believe, so he has also already completed his pit requirement. So that would explain his position right now. And then it looks like Manning has overtaken Diaz up here. Let's see if we can go back and take a look at this, as Manning just kind of drives around Diaz. And gets a very clean overtake through the hairpin. It almost looked like Diaz just kind of let him have it.
Well, see, that was one's pitted, one hasn't pitted. That was very nice of Diaz to let him by, because he knows that while they're racing for position, Diaz hadn't pitted yet, so they're really not racing each other. So Diaz probably was just discretion, better part of valor, and just said, I ain't racing that guy. Which was what makes these guys such pros, is they know who they're racing and who they're not. So he didn't hold Manning up, and frankly, Manning, if he's going to be a part of this mix at the end, he didn't have time to wait on anybody. But like I say, these guys are pros, and they all know what they're doing. And Victor Diaz knew exactly what he was doing there.
No doubt.
I'm watching this battle right now between Wilson and Mercer, and Mercer can get it down to about 0.7, 0.8 seconds. And then it's almost like he has to pull the pace back. I don't think this is a track where dirty air would be causing that much of an issue. What do y'all think the reason behind these large gaps we're seeing tonight is? I can't figure it out.
Different mechanical grip for different brands of cars, front engine, mid engine. I think they're running up on each other. I think if they weren't in each other's way, they'd run the same lap time. But that's the difference, is you get right up on, like right now, you get right up on the back of somebody, and my car brakes better than your car, or vice versa, and you're slowing each other down, and you're just in each other's way. You just want to say, would you please get out of my way?
I'm in a race, get out of the way.
I ain't faster than you, but I'm faster than you right there.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the guy pulls out, and the next one you say, well, doggone it, I'm not faster than that guy. But in this corner I am, and now you're really hacking me off.
Yep.
That's exactly what's going on. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate statement, especially with the BOP now making the cars even more balanced, yet they gain their speed and time in different places. So when, for instance, the McLaren that doesn't brake very well has to brake a little bit earlier into a corner, the car that's following you closely that doesn't have to brake that early and would make up that time under braking now loses that time, but doesn't gain it back, where the McLaren that's in front that isn't being held up does make that time back up, where it excels at the mid-corner speed. So I think you're exactly right that we're just seeing the difference in the difference of the cars, which is, to me, ACC does a fantastic job of balancing that out and making it unique for each car. And, that's why drivers have favorites. That's why guys prefer a certain car. Not that anyone is necessarily that much faster than any other car, although they can excel at certain tracks, and that makes it fun as well.
Well, if you throw on top of that, some of these guys have been are fast, or set up their car to be fast on the front half of the track, over the curbs and chicanes and the twisty bits, and some of the guys made their cars be fast on the backside. So you made it a whole lot even more complicated. As we're watching the Lamborghini just crawl all over Nixon, but he can't do anything with him because that BMW stretches it out on the backside of the track, even though he gets eaten alive in the front half. So, yeah, let's just make it even more complicated. That's why those guys that pitted early, they got themselves some clean air. They ain't got to worry about it. If you didn't pit first, don't pit now. Wait till the end, because you got to find some clean air.
Indeed, as Diaz drops another position to a guy, being a heck of a gentleman out there, knowing that he is the unpitted car. He's just letting these guys that have already pitted, that he knows he's not even really fighting them for a position at the end of the race. He's just going to let them kind of slide by him, and I imagine he'll be pitting towards the end now. If you haven't pit yet, I wouldn't imagine anybody pitting right in the middle of the race would be the best strategy tonight, but we might see some here at the midpoint.
Just took it.
Oh, really?
Kerstedter's in.
Indeed. As I say that, Kerstetter hits the pit lane and is going to get that stop out of the way. Let's look at some of the other battles we have on track here. I think our closest one is still up toward the front here with Robinson, Talon Mercer, trying to hunt down that podium spot in third place.
12 left to have a pitted.
It's going to be a while before we see this battle for the podium, but currently Manning is 50 seconds off the lead.
Okay.
And third and fourth are right about 9 seconds off the lead. So they're going to have to nail their pit stop if they want to get in front of Manning. And if something terrible happens during Wilson's pit stop, I'd like to see if Manning could go and track down Nordstrom, because so far nobody in town with him.
Yeah.
Hey, does this put Peter O'Brien back in the top 5 again without getting his face on TV for the whole season? He just sits there around 5th, 6th, 7th, and just minds his own business. And the less you're on TV, the better you're doing.
Yeah, he's on TV now, so we might have just messed that up for him. But yeah, he does. He has just had a solid, good finish position all season, and a lot of times that wins championships.
Yeah, I mean, most people couldn't tell you what color his car was. I mean, when this is the 6th race of the season, because he's banging out the laps. He's like that guitarist in the band that just sits there and bangs out 8th notes for 2 hours of the concert. He ain't the guy shredded as lead guitarist, but the guy that makes the big money, he's the guy that sits there and bangs out 8 notes for 2 hours.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's take a ride on board here for a second. Let's get some in-car as we got a face full of McLaren in front of us from the passenger seat of the Porsche of Simmons, as he's our closest gap on the field right now. As we go to finish this lap, let's just ride along for a whole lap through the lovely Circuit Zolder as we try to pronounce the corner names. I'm not even going to try. As we come into turn 1, you have a left-hander that you can brake way later than you think, and you got to just throw it over that curb on the inside, run it all the way to the curb on the outside, go wide to the left here to throw it into the second turn. This is a hard corner to carry speed through and not get the back end loose like we just saw right there as you try to get back on the power to drive through this flat-out right-hander, and then just a quick lift, hard brake to throw it into this one. A lot of times you really got to toss the back end out and get on the power again to power down what is one of the longest straights right here into the first chicane. This is a good overtaking opportunity, but you got to be bold and you got to get it done early, because going side by side into the chicane itself, very treacherous, huge curbing there, very easy to lose control of the car. Fast left-hander here now, hard on the brakes as soon as you get straightened out. Tuck it in tight as we watch a battle in front as they bump each other off the track. What a great view from the passenger seat of the Porsche as they're banging doors in front of him. He must have been waiting for an accident there. But as he heads down into the hairpin, the slowest corner on the track, all the cars pretty much have to use first gear here as he gets a little bit deep under braking and lets Griffith slide behind him here. And, Ryder, who is that?
That's Griffith.
Okay, sorry about that, but Griffith is not even on the same lap. Am I seeing something wrong here?
Oh. That was pork on pork violence.
Yeah.
That's the other white meat.
No doubt. As the final chicane's complete, now we head down the front straight again, and we will head back overhead view here to see what Griffith just came through there.
So Griffith is running in 14th right now.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Okay, so that must be Salazar right there in the Fusion Racing team. Am I right, or am I wrong?
Let's see here. We have you all. That was our leader, Nordstrom.
Oh my! Okay, but this broadcast crew knows what's going on, guys. We're here to inform you about the goings on and events in this race. Travis Nordstrom, your leader, has just lapped the cars that we were riding on board with. There you go.
Thank goodness for the relatives sitting here in our race control to get it sorted out.
Yeah.
Nordstrom is putting on a clinic on this track right now. He is a 7.5 seconds out on Gomer Wilson in first place. Gomer is sliding that Audi as we flip over to him in second place. And Nordstrom continues to have the lowest lap times on the track, pretty much lap after lap. Even through that lap traffic, he maintained a very good lap time.
Yes.
Agricultural
racing in the back there by the McLaren.
I did not see a yellow flag for it, but it did look like he got a little wide there. And Mercer here still seems to be being challenged by Robinson behind him from time to time, but can't really find a way around. And just back from him, O'Brien in the Lamborghini there in fifth place. And now even Coadroma coming up into the picture as these guys kind of continue to slow each other up. He's making his way up from sixth place, hoping that he might, who knows, could be challenged for that podium spot. But as we talked about, we're going to jump back to Manning. He is the top driver that has pitted. He's about 50 seconds back from your leader.
I'm thinking he will be P3 at minimum, depending on how quickly Wilson can get around these lap cars. I think Manning's in with a real outside shot here of second place.
No doubt.
So,
and then, go ahead.
Manning, Robinson and O'Brien are just kind of following each other. That whole Robinson, O'Brien, let's diss those two now. I guess they're just following each other. They're not really getting in each other's hair. They might be just riding this thing out.
Yeah, I would think they're going to wait to pit as late as possible and hope that they can just make up a little bit more time here and hope that they're going to be ahead of Manning when they come out of that pit lane.
Yeah, Mercer had been crawling over, kind of all over Mercer for a bit, and he seems to have just fallen back enough to where they're just they're all going as fast as they can, and they're not in each other's hair. So it's we'll pit at the end, and I'll duke it out for 2 laps with you.
Right. So Manning's...
Gentlemen, we just had Robinson dive into the pits along with O'Brien.
All right, there we go. So they did pit now, which is interesting, and we're going to see where they come out. Now, so Manning did start in 5th place, so if he has done well with this undercut and gotten some fast laps in, we'll see. He might have made up 2 or 3 spots right there. Let's take a look at what's happening. Robinson entering the pit lane right now, and he was in 3rd place. As he is going to head in and get his stop finished. Let's keep an eye here on
I'll bring up
Manning
right now in the pit
and see. He is now coming on the front straight, and I think with the longer pit exit over here and at the very end of the pit exit road, you got to slow down quite a bit more for T2 than you normally would.
Manning has it.
No doubt. Manning is already by, and he is... Robinson is going to fall in behind him. Not too far back, but as we've seen, it's going to be very difficult to overtake that Honda here on this track.
Undercut.
The early pit stop seems to be the way.
Early birds.
But
Robinson,
if you're as fast as Travis Nordstrom, just stay out, right?
If nobody holds him up, just keep going.
Yeah.
He's so far ahead. He didn't need to worry about anything until he runs into some serious traffic. But I think he's got it all covered. He's fine.
O'Brien decides to dive to the pit lane now.
Just to drive that point.
Sorry, Mercer.
Nordstrom, fastest lap of the race, last lap, 128.24.
Yeah.
The guy has pace in hand right now.
Yeah, I think actually his best lap was a 127.7. But yeah, the 128.24. The 128.24. The Plumber gets confusing there. No problem, man. But the last lap still was a 128.24, which is faster than anybody else on the field still right now.
Mercer in, Escoria in.
All right. So Mercer now should also more than likely come out behind Manning unless somehow he finds a magical way to make that pit stop 3 seconds faster.
This one's going to be much tighter.
Yeah, he is going to be right on top of... As he does come out in front of Manning. He does pull on track in front of Manning. So, the undercut didn't get him past that, but I believe Mercer was 2 positions ahead of him at the start, unless I'm missing my statistics.
Mercer's tires might be a little cold right now where he just sat in the pit box, so... Manning's going to make a move. He's going to have to make it here on this lap or the next.
This would be the time. If he's going to make a dive, he would have to do it now, and he's going to go to the... Oh, wow, he gets way over there. Looks like he almost lost control of the car as he dove across the track. As they come into the next chicane here, let's see if he can keep it on and make another challenge. He could get a good run out of here and have a challenge for him at the hairpin. What's really interesting is out of that chicane all the way to this hairpin down here is actually flat out. So depending on the exit you get out of that chicane is how well you're going to be coming in to this hairpin. And then another good exit here drives all the way to the final corner in the chicane.
And for those of you who have access to our Discord, Nate Specht, who had unfortunate accident earlier, he just had his Discord comments are just golden. We love you, Nate. And anyways, and he definitely just covered everything we talked about in the pre-race. So love you, Nate.
All right. The curb weapons. Did he mention the curb weapon?
Yeah, I believe he mentioned they should be nuked off the planet.
Manning seems to be struggling here now as Robinson is all over the back of him with the Lamborghini. And unfortunately, he probably pushed pretty hard to try to overtake Mercer there when he saw him come out of the pit. And tires might be a little bit warm, a little overworked right now. Hopefully he can recover and hold on to that position. So yet to pit, we still have Gomer Wilson, O'Brien, Dromo, Majid, Durant's good. They are out front right now. And, of course, Travis Nordstrom at the front. But those guys still have to pit. Crown and Diaz as well, further down the field, also still have yet to complete their pit stop.
Nine drivers still left to pit.
We are getting some closer battles now on the field.
you know, Fosley finished second in silver last week. He's leading now. Danny's right behind him. I think that's how it's going to shake out when they finally pit, too. Escoria may have something to say about that.
Yeah, Escoria. And so, yeah.
Nice race for him tonight.
So, yeah, so Crown still has to pit, so they're not concerned about him. But Escoria, first silver driver that has already done his pit stop. In just
I'm
about
glad
a
you just
minute.
brought up Crown. So I was riding on board with Griffith and Spangler here, and he just moved over to the side of the track and gave up 3 or 4 seconds just to let those guys by. That was for position.
Oh, wow.
But he hasn't pitted, though.
Yes. So he ultimately knew he wasn't really battling those guys for position because they were going to go around him in the pit lane anyway. And he might have just decided, you know, Robinson, Griffith, Spangler, I know these guys are fast. I'm not going to sit out here and hold them up. Which
that makes him 41 seconds behind him anyway.
It looks like Kerstetter has just overtaken Schwartz here. Let's see if we can get a replay of this. As Kerstetter tucks it on the right side, going down the front straight. And just that McLaren finally gets the highest speed. I think Schwartz just kind of decided the better part of Valor would be to let him go right there. So
do y'all think that, you know, last week it was Brands Hatch. That was hard enough. I think everybody's still got a hangover from getting, you know, the snot beat out of them from last week. And your reward for getting through last week? These freaking curbs.
the curb weapon, yeah.
So I wonder if everybody's saying, you know, let's just have an easy night. You know, it's like let's not have any fighting tonight. Let's just have an easy night. And can we just please just get through this thing? It is a drive-through for Walker, but I wonder if everybody's just saying, oh, I just want to get to the end of this thing. Tired of fighting the curb. I don't want to fight you. I got bigger problems. I'm still mad about last week.
Jeez. As Walker goes very deep into that corner as well. He seems to be having a struggle time keeping it within the track limits right now. And even Kerstetter got off in that first chicane, ended up kind of having to abort, cut the curb on the inside, which he slowed way down. And it looks like Walker will go in to serve his drive-through penalty as he's headed into the pit lane. So still out front, Nordstrom still turning 128.2 as his average lap time. And fastest guy on the track still, Pat O'Brien. Sorry, Peter O'Brien ducking into the pit lane as well. As Coadromo moves up to third place with that, but he is still yet to pit. But Peter O'Brien will take his stop now. Let's see where he is going to shuffle out as we see Manning, Robinson, Mercer. They are coming up, and they will more than likely, all three of them, end up in front of O'Brien at this point, is my bet. Oh, wow, he really gets the tires hot coming out of the pit stall. And
it's going to be close between Mercer and O'Brien here.
Really? So maybe the undercut
in the pit,
isn't.
On board with Mercer. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, he slots in between Mercer and
So let's
Manning.
hear O'Brien just overcut Robinson.
You better believe he just did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sneaky guy.
So it does seem like perhaps the undercut isn't as powerful as we might have thought. As further back, you're still having to deal with some Oh, hold on now. Manning might be having something to say about this. I might have spoken too soon as he gets a run around the outside, headed into the chicane. They're going to go 2 by 2 on the entry. They touch, and they keep it side by side, still side by side as they finish out the corner. Touch again, more contact, and it looks like he's going to end up getting bounced back 2 positions. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. O'Brien is not going to be happy about that. He pretty much got shoved out of his position there after being in the pits. And, yeah, that's got to be pretty frustrating for him. We'll see if he can recover here and just have a good rest of his race, but that's very frustrating.
Well, it's not that the extreme undercut was all that great, and it's not that the extreme overcut was all that great. It's all about that rubber band, and we got 13 and a half minutes left to go. And the rubber band is beginning to snap.
No doubt. I'm going to cut back to Carpenter here, who is our closest gap on the track right now. He seems to be all over the back of Flamger. This is McLaren on McLaren action here. So these cars very evenly matched as they fight for position. He's going to try a dive to the inside on the hairpin, and he still gets the car slowed down just in time. Very clean overtake, but my goodness, I don't know how he got that car slowed down enough to get into there. And look at that. Overtakes and is in 22nd.
He really had to square that corner off there. Almost used the throttle to get it rotated.
That was quite a fantastic piece of driving. That was phenomenal to get the car slowed down enough. Robinson making a good run on Manning right now as he still continues to try and take that 8th place. I believe he thinks it's his, and Manning thinks it's his. So they will continue to fight about that.
Plenty of discussion left to be had.
Let's see the debate.
So we got 6 guys at the front.
Good is about a second ahead of Mercer right now. I'm anxious to see if the Beamers are gonna, let each other by here and be able to build that gap. If not, we'll bring Mercer right back into Manning's plate.
Well, Dan Good needs to, instead of losing time having to deal with it or moving over or fighting or anything else, probably about time for him to just go ahead and get in.
Yeah, he could at this point undercut Durance and Majid for the silver win if he had a good pit stop and was able to find a clean spot. Not that he's getting held up right now anyway. He's about 11 seconds adrift of Durance, but if he was going to get slowed down by anybody, lap traffic or people overtaking him, this would be the time to take that pit stop.
It's all about who you're racing right now.
So he only has about a 15-second lead over Crown, so I'm not sure if he'd be able to take that silver win. Escorcia has pitted, correct?
Crown has not pitted. So the top 4 silvers have not pitted.
Oh, Wilson in the pit.
There you go.
Wilson in the pit. It looks like Crown just lost a position here as well. I'm going to try to get that as we keep an eye on the pit stop gap. I don't know what happened to Crown here, as if hopefully we can catch this in the replay. I don't know if he just lost a lot of time here. Oh, he just pulled over and let Mr. Sir cruise on by.
That's the second time he's done that tonight.
I believe he still had not pit, right?
Correct. He's doing it. Yeah, he's doing the same thing. He's just racing against the track.
And Good did pit. And Gomer Wilson does come back out of the pit now, still maintaining 5th place. And all the cars in front of him are yet to pit.
We've just got rated by the Sunset Racing League. Welcome to the stream, guys.
Hey, welcome. You got Dudley Dew right here. You're doing your play-by-play, and Andrew Anderson beside me in the booth. Maxie Poe doing our technical info. Welcome to the stream.
I am not doing anything technical for the record. Low scoring. Nothing technical happening here.
Robinson, big off out of the first chicane.
Oh, wow.
He's able to keep it, but has brought O'Brien right back onto his tails down here in the pit.
All right. Great job picking up on that. They have been close with that battle all evening. Manning now closing in on Mercer. He's under a second gap to him as well. And we still have our top 4 yet to make their pit. And Crown also, the other guy out on the track still, yet to make his pit stop.
So now it's only the top 4 haven't pitted. And let's see, if we look back to Travis, looks like he's got about 10 seconds clear on Gomer Wilson when he finally comes in. Danny Durance finally called it, and he's in.
He's into the pit.
Travis is 10 seconds clear.
He's going to drop quite a bit back from that position, back closer to where did he start?
Yeah, I'm thinking right behind Escorcia.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has dropped further back than he started the race. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's worked out very well for him. And now he's got to stop and go 30 penalty. Oh, that's tough to see. He must have gotten into the pit lane just a little bit too quick. And that is going to ruin his evening quite a bit.
Manning he's going to try it again. I think he has the run on him down to get the inside into the second chicane tonight.
Oh my gosh, it's so close. He doesn't really have it, and he backs out. That was a wise decision. He did not have enough overlap to try to stick his nose in there for that chicane.
Manning is crawling all over Mercer.
Absolutely.
There it is. There it is.
Let's get the onboard in the pip here.
The rubber band has snapped.
He's trying to go around the outside. He's going to do the over-under into the chicane here, and he just is not getting that run. That BMW gets out of the corner so well. That Honda's struggling with a little bit here, but he may get a run down the front straight as we'll keep our eyes fixed on this. This is our closest battle on the track right now, and this battle is basically for 3rd through 5th place after everybody pits. Nordstrom will probably, at this point, just about maintain the lead. Yes, he would maintain the lead because Gomer Wilson is 50 seconds adrift of him as the first car that is pitted.
You're calling it right, too. That BMW is 3 kilometers an hour faster than the Honda and most everything else in the speed trap. So, yeah, that BMW can pull away. Then Michael Manning pulls up right up to him in the corners, just like we were talking about. These cars their lapse times are the same, but they don't get there the same way, and it just gets in everybody's hair.
No doubt. He catches them under braking every time into these chicanes.
There he is.
The way that Honda attacks those curbs, I mean, he almost goes over them like they're not even there, and the car still looks so stable on the onboard.
Wow. Yeah, on the back half of the track where it gets a little bit, where you don't have all the curbs and twists, that BMW just walks on out a little bit. You can't get to him to do anything with him.
Yep, under braking again, closes the gap. On acceleration, there goes the BMW.
Goodbye. Nothing you can do about it.
Manning's only chance here really is if Mercer has a large moment on corner exit, but that was a pretty big slide coming into the final corner there, but still, it just walks away from him down this straightaway.
And now everybody else has closed the gap up behind us. We got quite a little bit of train as Majid finally hits the pit.
Yep.
And he clears the way now for only our top 2 drivers and Crown back at 12th are yet to pit. Mercer a little wide on that corner. Manning might get a run here as, yeah, Mercer's wide through both of those corners, but he maintains the speed so well in that BMW. And
this might be where Manning can really get him under braking.
Oh my gosh, he should get him under braking, but is it going to be enough? No, he decides better
I think he's settling for corner exit.
Oh, and he taps him hard, gives him a good shove in the middle of the chicane. That backs up into O'Brien behind us. Robinson drops a position because of that. And wow, that was not the best demonstration of D1 driving there, but that's racing, folks. Sometimes even these guys get it wrong.
Snap.
I just want to say, last weekend I got a brotherly shove and gained a position out of it. So
okay,
it might have been what Manning was doing there.
Looks like Spangler has incurred a drive-through penalty. Drive-throughs are usually assessed for track limit penalties, so we're going to have to assume he has spent one too many times sending it outside the white lines, and that is going to cost him quite a few positions as he has to ride through the pit lane at the pit lane speed. Boy, we have really closed up the gap here now for what is basically 2nd through 6th place is all in a line here as they are going to battle for this position towards the end. Further down the field we don't have too many close battles, so we're going to keep our eyes fixed on this, folks, as we get down under the final 5 minutes in this race.
Yeah, I tell you, we're about 2 minutes away from figuring out which one of these last laps Nordstrom's going to come in, but I mean, he's got him covered. He just misses the pit stop. He's off and away. The battle's really going to be for that 3rd back to 8th, and the way this is shaping up, that's where the fun's going to be.
No doubt, and it continues to just be a juggling match here because we've got BMW, Honda, 2 Lamborghinis, and a Porsche, all being just all over each other. And now Griffith, who, like I said in the pre-race here, he had the fastest lap time posted pretty much all week, and he didn't qualify that high. So he's got to be a little bit frustrated that he didn't get that lap in the qualifying, and he's trying to make up some positions now here towards the end of the race.
Big, I just now noticed this. If Dromo can get a good pit stop, he will take the final podium spot. Because all these guys back here battling, they've lost so much time now. He's
Oh, good
become
call.
about 2 seconds ahead of Mercer.
Look
Good
at
call.
Koa
That's
quietly sitting in second place. We haven't even talked about him all night, barely. As Griffith
Another one of
sticks
those
it
guys.
inside on turn 1, he gets slide and they make contact. He shoves Robinson out into the dirt, and he gives up a position as well, probably
Manning's being
realizing
overtaken right now.
he really did not take that position very well. Robinson's still trying to get back on track. Spangler is into the pit to serve his penalty. Robinson back on track, but he drops all the way to 10th place. Griffith drops to 7th. O'Brien is hanging in tight still here on the back of Manning's Honda. Manning has opened the gap quite a bit to Mercer in front of him. He might have, after that contact, decided, you know what? I don't want to push it anymore. I'm just going to back off and go for my 5th, which is going to turn into a 4th place finish, hopefully. Although Koa,
Both are in the pits.
both in the pits now. Let's see how
They
this plays out. We're going to watch
Spangler
here.
hasn't come in yet. He actually went around in that whole melee. His position got worse, but we got bigger stuff to play with right now. Here we go.
Let's watch as Koa, obviously Travis Nordstrom here coming out of the pit, and he will more than likely maintain the lead. It looks like his pit stop was clean, no issues, as he comes back out to the track, as long as he makes a good entry here and doesn't make any mistakes. Kept it inside the line, so no penalties or anything there. Spangler still has to serve that drive-through penalty further back. Koa Dromo does fall to 3rd place, and it looks like he will stay there. So he will take the final step on the podium provisionally right now with about a minute and a half left in this race. Spangler does finally come in to serve his penalty.
He's got Mercer by a second and a half or so is how that all shook out. And that BMW, it's got a lot of straight line speed, but I don't see how he's going to pass that out. Just don't see it.
Yeah, I would highly doubt in a minute, less than a minute now, he would have to make up a 2-second gap. Unless Koa's tires got really cold in that pit lane, I don't see that happening. Yeah. O'Brien here still trying to challenge Manning for 5th place. So Manning just basically, with that massive pit and first lap, he just ended up back in the position he started in after all that. Now we're going to come back to Robinson here. He's trying to make up positions. Dan Cran off the track, just a little further back here. Let's see if we can see what happened to him. I'm betting it was a little bit too much curb, and the curb weapon got him here entering this first chicane.
Boom. Boom.
One more victim of the curb weapon, and there it is.
Ooh,
sure enough.
There it is. Whoa. Red alert.
Kept it off the wall at least, and regains the track, and I think he only lost 1 position there. So,
you know what? There's 2 stories going on. Nordstrom's going to sail off into the sunset one more time, but our team leaders, Spangler, Kerstetter, are getting obliterated in the standings right now. With Kerstetter running 15th, and Spangler, I can't even find him.
Yeah,
18th.
Yeah,
wow.
So that is not a great finish for our team leaders. As Nordstrom though is halfway through the final lap already here, as he enters the 2nd chicane. And as long as he keeps it clean for the final lap of the race, we don't really have too much else going on here, folks. It has been
curb.
A fart stopper. What is it called?
Stumpers.
The fart stumpers. Yeah, fart stumpers. Oh
the
boy.
Fart stopper is Beano Dudley.
Yes, sorry, you're right. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see. Let's watch as Nordstrom should be coming to the final corner here, as he will complete the race, and we'll flip over and watch him as he crosses the finish line now. And there it is. Travis Nordstrom running a great race, dominating pretty much from the start line, came from 2nd, overtook the leader at the very beginning, and wins this race very handily. Gomer Wilson bringing home 2nd place, about 10 seconds adrift of the leader. Koa Dromo takes the 3rd step on the podium. Great race out of him as well. Very quiet. We didn't see much of him, but then our whole pack comes through. Mercer, Manning, O'Brien, and Griffith further back after he made that little bit of mistake trying to overtake Mr. Sir crossing the line here in 8th place. Escorcia crossing the line in 9th. Robinson right behind him in 10th place. That rounds out your top 10. Majid a little further back. He will be second place in your silver drivers as Escorcio was first place, and they were side by side as they crossed the line with Dan Cran there, drag racing out of the final corner. Rust, Misi, Kerstetter down in 15th as our number one car, finishing 15th. That's not very often we'll see that. Good crossing the line here in 16th, and Velez and Schwartz right behind him as they head across the line. And that's Spangler as well coming through there. Carpenter, Flamger, Salazar crossing the line here. Simmons is coming in right behind him. And Crown finally did make his pit stop, so he did get that done. Him and Ryder very close together as they cross the finish line together. We cut back a little bit further. Diaz crosses the line in 26th place. Walker behind him in 27th. Brooker Quigg coming home in 28th. Stefiak and Durant rounding out your 29 drivers to finish the race this evening. And there you have it, folks. Race coverage complete for this round 6, Division 1, Season 9 race here at Zolder. And, well, concluding thoughts here, guys, as we look for some interviews.
Coadromo on the podium.
Yeah, just an absolute incredible drive by him. Big takeaway for me, 2 Audis in the top 3.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did not see that coming tonight. And also, as far as front engine cars go, almost non-existent. Typically, they do really good on tracks with high curbs. So, bit of an outlier tonight. I'd like to dig into the data and see where everybody made their time.
No question, no question. So I do see our race winner, Travis Nordstrom, in the chat. Just going to give him a second here to get sorted. Make sure we don't catch him in an after-race bathroom break or anything like that. And we also have Gomer Wilson in there. I believe he finished second and Coadromo in third. So we're going to bring in Travis Nordstrom here and see what he has to say about his race this evening. Travis Nordstrom, Dudley Do right here in the booth. Can you hear us all right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hey, Travis, fantastic race tonight. Congratulations on the win. It looks like you pretty much took first place and never let go of it from the start. Tell us what it looked like from your perspective.
Well, I mean, starting with qualifying, I was a little bit bummed out that he just barely got in front of me. But really, like if I'm looking at this season, Menning and Ed are the two guys that I was really worried about. And so my original plan going into the race was just play it safe. You know, I can deal with second place. That'll be good. You know, just don't try and do any heroics over the first chicane, anything like that. And then I got to the race, and my driver instinct just was like, "You got to go for this pass." And it was like the stupidest thing ever, but I was like, I just got to go for it. And I braved it around the outside. I think he might have braked a little bit early. And yeah, from there, first once I took that position, it was just trying to settle down and do clean laps.
Well, you definitely settled down, man. You were the fastest car on the track most of the day. And yeah, fantastic pace out of you for the majority of the race, man. And you proved us to be genius commentators right off the beginning there. We pretty much said if anybody was going to make an overtake, it has to be towards the beginning of the race here. And it looks like you had the ability to get that done. So fantastic job. Maxie, do you have something?
Yeah. At what point did you realize there was other cars on the track? Because you just ran off and let everybody.
Oh man, that is, you know, it is kind of difficult to stay focused when you got that big of a lead. I did find myself losing focus every once in a while, and I tried to make it like a little bit of a game where I was trying to make sure that I kept the gap to Gomer like at a good level, because you know it's real easy to lose concentration, and at Zolder, if you lose concentration, man, that first chicane can kill you. There's so many places that can kill you. You can get off tracks, drive-throughs, that sort of thing. So I kind of had to do something to get my keep my mind in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you did a great job tonight. A lot of people back home watching this on the stream, they don't understand what you did tonight is much harder than battling with somebody throughout the entire race. Like you say, keeping that focus. So great job.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
All right, that's pretty much all our questions from this week. What are you thinking going into next week?
Can you remind me what track it is?
Believe
Laguna.
we're going to
Oh, Laguna
Laguna,
Seca.
the Laguna.
Yeah, I mean, I like that track. We'll see. I know that the other Porsche is really good around
Mhm.
there. I don't know how good this. I don't think I've ever driven that track in this car. So we'll see. I do like that track. I think it's got a lot of like rear downforce corners, so it might suit this car
Mhm.
pretty well. But yeah, we'll just have to see.
All right. Well, good luck to you next week. Hopefully, we'll see you again. It seems to be a regular thing that you stop by our booth after the races right now. So keep up the good work, and we'll get you back into the race chat here.
All right, thank you guys.
You got it.
All right. Fantastic to interview our race winner, Travis Nordstrom, there as we send him back to his after race chat to debrief.
Mhm.
Let's bring in our second place finisher, Gomer Wilson. Gomer Wilson, Dudley Do right here in the commentator's booth. Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you.
Awesome, man. Welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your second place this evening. Looks like you had a pretty smooth race out there. Tell us what you saw from your perspective.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, man, it was pretty great. Best finish that I've had here in D1, so I'm pretty excited about that. Obviously, I was thrilled to get pole. I did about as good as I could do in quali, so um, Trav just had too much, man. I stuck with him there for a few laps, but he just had too much at the front, and once I realized that, I kind of backed it off a little bit, started taking that chicane a little more easy. So, but all in all, great race for me. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, fantastic job in the qualifying session to stick it on pole. I was looking at the lap leaderboard right before we started and noticed you were right up there though, challenging for the lead. Did you find the qualifying conditions with the dark and the cold? Was it really tricky for you?
It was at first. I figured a few things out with the setup. I spent a lot of time in the quali server this week, so I figured a few setup
Mhm.
things out just to get a little more front grip in some of those high speed corners, and I think that really helped out a lot. And then obviously, hit that chicane 100 or so times, which helped me out in the quali. So
Yeah. Seems like no matter how many times you practice the chicane, it can still go wrong, right?
roll the
Hey,
dice, man. It helped me out today.
hey, for those guys scoring at home, you just heard the second place driver say he put over 100 laps in over that curb. So if all
At
of those who
least.
have not done that, hear it from the guy that's holding the silver trophy.
Yeah, fantastic job. Maxie, do you have
Mm.
anything?
Just number one, there was two Audis in the top three. Do you think that was something to do exclusively with this track, or do you think this new BOP that we have has brought the Audi back into a genuine contender for wins week in and week out?
It's a good question. I know it was pretty fast last season without the BOP, and then this track it didn't have any BOP, right? I think it didn't have any ballast at all added
Right.
to it. So I think that helped. I think even the plus 10 kg and plus 20 kg that we've had in the last couple tracks have really hurt the Audi. But Koa did get P4 last week, so maybe that's just in my head. But I really liked it without the ballast this week. I think that helped me out a lot.
Okay. Well, hopefully, looking forward next week to Laguna Seca. You all can keep up these great performances.
Well, I hope I can. Thank you guys.
Yeah, how do you feel about Laguna? Is that a track you favor or?
You know, um, I'm not really sure. I guess we'll see. I've never done it in the Audi. I've done it in the Porsche, which I like. I like Laguna when I'm in the Porsche, but that's a different beast. So,
All right, man. Well, good luck. Thanks for joining us here in the booth for just a second, and we will send you back to the race chat. Thanks again.
all right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Congratulations.
All right, cool. That is our top two there, and I'd like to interview our first place silver driver, Escorcia, but we could also get Coadromo, who I see right now. Let's just grab him. He
Yeah.
finished third place. Our other Audi driver on the podium. Let's bring him up. Coadromo, this is Dudley Do Right in the booth. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, man, welcome. And fantastic job. Fourth place last week, third place this week. And we get the pleasure of talking to you again as you threw your Audi up there on the podium. What did it look like from your perspective this week?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I was not expecting this at all. Like, just the amount of frustration I had, like, practicing. this week. Um, Qualifying was pretty decent, but I lost like shoot like at least 5 positions on lap one, just like trying to stay alive.
Mm.
Just make a little sloppy, but stayed alive, and then was pretty much just running with I think it was O'Brien for a bit, and I debated about going in early or not, and I'm so glad I stayed out because I jumped so many people. I mean, holy shit!
Yep.
Like I when I came out and I was in third, I just started. I lost it. Like I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, I'm super stoked right now. Like didn't expect to be here this week.
Yeah, we at first thought the undercut was going to be strong, but it turned out the guys that waited till later that had clean, like you said, you weren't really getting held up with O'Brien there. There were other guys that were getting held up because this track has such a difference for different brakes makes of cars. Ones that favor heavy under braking, a lot of heavy braking zones on this track. But yeah, fantastic job. Was that kind of your plan the whole time, or were you just kind of playing it as you go as far as the stop went?
I mean, pretty much just playing it as it went. I mean, there was like one lap where O'Brien kind of held me up, and I was really thinking about it. But then I made a couple mistakes and fell back, which just stayed out after that. And yeah, I mean, it just worked out. Luckily, I mean, I think or I'm guessing other people were battling, and they probably lost time. Um,
Hmm.
I actually had 3 track cut warnings with like 30 minutes to go, so that was another like major
Oof.
thing I had to worry about.
Yeah, great job making it through with that, man. Holy smokes.
I I tried to stop taking the curbing on the first chicane, but the second chicane just being extra cautious. But yeah, dude, I just like I said, I just can't believe I pulled that through.
Yeah, fantastic job. And fantastic job overall. Third stop on the podium. What are you thinking about Laguna next week?
Ooh, I mean, I love Laguna, but I mean, we have the Bathurst Enduro coming up, so probably won't be practicing too much for Laguna. But I mean, I do love Laguna, so uh, hopefully it'll be a good one or another good one. I mean, yeah, I love that track. People hate it, but I love the like the flow to it. I mean, it's super deadly too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Do you
Fantastic.
think the Audi is going to be just as strong next week as it was this week?
I mean, hopefully there's just really no curbs to worry about. Besides
Right.
besides the sausage on the insides of some. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it should be pretty good at that track. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, good luck to you next week.
Appreciate you, fellas. Good
Yeah,
deal.
fantastic job tonight, man.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll talk to you again next week. I'll move you back to your race chat there so you can continue with those guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. That was Koa Drummer, your third place finisher this evening. I was going to interview our silver driver winner, but unfortunately, I don't see him available in the paddock here as the drivers have exited their cars and gone to their various chats to debrief on all the goings on of the race. I don't currently see him in any of the chat rooms. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellow commentators here, but
I don't see him either.
I am not finding him. I would like to interview at least one silver driver. These guys get no respect, I tell you.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I just want to say I'm a silver driver, and I'm personally offended by that.
Why don't we bring in
I'm a,
Fazli Majid? He was the second place in silver tonight. See what he has to say about his race experience. Fazli Majid, this is a Dudley
Oh
Do
my
Right
God.
up here in the booth. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing great. We were looking for the first place silver driver, but we didn't see him in there, so we got you, our second place silver driver this evening. Can you tell
That's
us how the
me.
race unfolded for you?
Oh, the race was pretty eventful. It was really almost like attrition. Don't die at the first chicane. Right before the race, I came up with a kind of a wacky setup, but it seems to have paid off. It wasn't the fastest, but let me get away with a lot of weird lines I took, so that paid off.
Fantastic. That Aston Martin was a bit of a challenger on this track, or how did that car seem to fare overall throughout the week when you were trying to lay down laps?
So the car feels pretty good in general, but its main weakness is coming out of slow corners, like acceleration out of slow corners. So it's pretty tough in sector 2, sector 3 in this track. But overall, it's pretty good race pace. So yeah, it worked out.
Fantastic. Maxie, do you have anything?
Nice.
No, I didn't. Just another great run tonight. Looking forward to Laguna Seca. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, I love Laguna Seca, one of my favorite tracks. I haven't been there in a while, but it should be fun to swing this car around there.
Awesome. Are you also signed up for our endurance race this weekend?
I am signed up in our endurance race this weekend. I'm going to be racing with Patrick Rust, Brooker Quick, and Stephanie Fisher in the BMW M4. So look out for
Fantastic.
that. It's a red and white contest team because hopefully we don't go flying though.
Awesome.
Well, hopefully, don't go flying past us.
Yeah, it's I'm running that race. Maxie and I are actually teaming up in that one, celebrating my birthday that day. So hope to see you out on track and celebrate with me.
Yeah, will do. It was my birthday a few days ago, so this was a nice result for me
Happy
and for the
birthday.
team.
Well,
So
happy
thank you.
late birthday.
Yeah, fantastic
Thank you.
result. And anybody you want to shout out to here while you're on the channel?
Shout out to Dan Cran for giving me the P2 on the second last lap. I know he put me on his fantasy team, so maybe he did that intentionally. Because he said that.
You know, I never even thought that drivers might be giving up positions for that reason. Oh, that's funny.
Just savages.
Well, fantastic to talk with you, man. We'll look forward to seeing you race next week. We'll send you back to your race chat, and you can finish with those guys.
Yep, thank you. Hope to be
All right.
here next week.
All right, congratulations again.
Thank you. Bye.
We did it.
Yeah, it looks like the D1 race chat for some reason was not available. Oh, because he already had moved there. That's what happened. He jumped the gun on me. All right. Anyway, as we wrap up our broadcast here, closing thoughts, guys. What did you think about the track tonight?
Brutal.
We heard it in the post-race interviews. Just survive. It was going to be a war of attrition, and that's what it turned out to be. We saw a few different pit strategies.
Yep.
D1 again providing a great show for us. There might not have been a lot of side-by-side battling, but the pit strategies, they keep you aware of what's going on.
Well, what did we learn for those of us driving tomorrow night? What have we learned?
Well, the undercut's not as powerful as we thought.
And the overcut's not as bad as you think.
Yeah. It's all pretty equal at the end.
You're all going to meet in the end anyway, aren't you? It's just where can you go from 50 minutes down to 10 minutes where you can just go and not beat anybody's hair or get anybody's hair, where you just go fight the track and not anybody else for about 40 minutes and deal with them in the first 10 and the last 10 and have a nice night.
Yeah, that seems to be the strategy. Find some open space, right?
Yeah, find
Right.
real estate.
If you have a 1.5 second, 2 second gap ahead of you, you might as well just stay out. And that's what I took from this.
Yeah, I did too. I think you're spot on.
Yep. If you're battling close behind somebody that's checking your braking points, you gotta find a way to get around, and hopefully you come out in a better gap if you do decide to take that pit stop. Well, thanks everybody for a fantastic broadcast tonight. Thank you, Andrew Anderson and Maxie Poe, for being in the booth with me. Fantastic job from you guys tonight. Thanks for everybody in our Twitch chat and all our sponsors out there. And we got just a few more people to thank. Of course, a big thank you to all our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And we also have support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates as well. Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced heads-up display to change the way you experience ACC. A big thank you also to Go Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Once again, thank you to my fellow commentators in the booth, Andrew Anderson and Maxie Poe. Thanks for everybody who tuned in tonight, and we will see you next week.
Thanks to the WAGs.
Thanks to all who
Thanks
watched
to the
tonight. Y'all take
Wax.
care.